Hey, all, hey, we back for another review of Sisters. Let's just jump right into it. We on season 6, episode 8, entitled "Uneven Playing Field." Last episode, Fatima was asking Andy for her ring back so she can give it back to Zach because she feels like he comes with too much and she don't want to be bothered, so she want to just cut it off. And Andy just so happened to have it on her because she knew that Fatima was going to ask for the ring back. And Andy goes on to tell her, I don't want y'all to end things, you guys are motivation for me, whatever, I'll get back to that. But she tells Andy, like, listen, I don't want to end up like Miss Porter, the lady that they were talking to in the last episode. She's like, I don't want to end up, putting all this time in and ending up unhappy. So, I might as well just cut my losses while I'm here, essentially. And she's like, listen, it's too much back and forth. He comes with too much. It's just too much going on, and I don't want to be bothered. So, Andy wants her to be sure, don't make a rash decision. Be sure of yourself, and that's okay. I can agree with that. But then she goes on to tell him that, hey, y'all two give me hope. You and Zach give me hope for a better tomorrow, for a better relationship. So I don't want y'all to break up, which that I don't like that. It doesn't matter if they're giving you hope. If she don't want to do it no more, you forcing them together by way of being hope for you and what you wish to have one day, it's not a good enough reason for her to continue being in relationship with Zach. But yeah, that was a little manipulative to me because, girl, okay, you like them together, but they don't like each other together. They're not good for each other. So them being hope for you or being goals to you is of no consequence at this point. Andy is trying to talk her into not ending it. But the lack of eligible men, in the dating pool, and Fatima tells her, like, listen, I understand that, dating pool is a little slim, pickings are slim, but that's not good enough reason for me to stay in this thing if I don't want to be. Which, sound logic or whatever. And she said, yeah, I know you're going to tell your girl. So if Karen asks, just tell her, she can have them. I wash my hands, I throw in the towel. It ain't no beef. She can have them and do with that what she will. So we'll see what happens with that. Gary rolls up, and she tells Andy, in a little bit of a snark, she was like, listen, I guess I'm not the only one afraid to be alone. Meaning, she hasn't wanted to end things with Zach because she doesn't want to be alone. The same as Andy not wanting to end things with Gary because she doesn't want to be alone, which I don't think is the case. I think, why do I have this hair tie? What I really think is, they transition from her wanting to be in this love story and knowing that it's not gonna ever be that when it comes to Gary, and just kind of using him for his body. But they'll confirm that later on in the episode. He's there to talk to Andy about what she said when she was high as a kite the night before, and she tells him, like, listen, it ain't really much to discuss. I said what I said, like, I was high, but I was also honest. And she's like, well, what's the issue? Like, men do it all the time. I don't really see what's the big deal. And now he wants to be honest as well. He tells Andrea Barnes, he calls her by her full government first and last, because I guess he's pissed that she ain't the best, she ain't the best box he done ever had in his life either. So not so much on him, and that her game is weak. Gary, play with somebody else, because you're just saying it because she hurt your feelings. Anyway, and he's just trying to, I think he's just trying to get back at Andy for getting under his skin the night before by way of her telling her truth, saying what they all needed to hear, what they both needed to hear at this point in their situationship. And she was like, okay, and then, she was unmoved by the statement. She was like, okay, cool, we just never have sex again. That'll solve all the issues for you. And then he sets up a meeting for 8 p.m. that night. He's going to come by her house because he sees that him talking to her this way turns her on. And it appears that way. It's because she got very uneasy. She got very, in her feels about him talking to her that way. But I don't really know why that would be a turn on. It wouldn't be for me, but it is for her. So, that would just screamed weird to me, because you just had an attitude like 2 seconds ago, and now you just gonna tell me where you gonna be at my house that night. Anyway, obviously the power struggle or the shift in power dynamics or whatever they got going on is a turn off point. She's like, listen, I ain't gonna be home to 9:30, so change it to 9:30. Essentially, like he said he was gonna be there 8, she ain't gonna be home till 9:30. So long story short, child, he's gonna end up, tapping them cheeks again tonight. Congratulations. Moving right along. Tamara finally comes up from under Hayden's desk. If you watched last week, you know that she was down there performing her wifely duties for her man. He wants to talk about the annulment and, all this stuff, and she don't want to hear it. She doesn't know that that's what he wants to talk about, but she is so glad to be his wife, and she's only interested in basically selling him this wifely dream. I'm going to go home and get the bed ready so we can finish what we just started. By the time you get off of work, I have dinner ready, just, all this good stuff. And so now Hayden, his head is gone. It's in the clouds. He might really end up wifing this girl. And like Gary's trying to tell him, like, listen, you might want to stick with this annulment. He was like, do you got the papers drawn up? He's like, yeah, I got the papers. I just haven't had time to talk to her. And he tells him, like, listen, you need to read the paperwork that I just dropped off. Half a little second of suspense. And it turns out that Tamara actually checks out. There's nothing major that came up, on the background checks or nothing of suspicion. So she seems to be, in the clear in Gary's eyes, but Gary still wants him to go through with the annulment because we know in that state, I think they're in Georgia, in the state of Georgia, after 30 days, she's entitled to half of your crap. And you don't know her well enough. If y'all want to redo this thing again later, cool. But for right now, you just need to go ahead and, handle that little bit of business because you did it rushed and it's probably not in your best interest because you don't really know everything that there is to know about this girl. Which, all right. Congratulations, you that was sound advice. Though I don't think that you'll ever know 100% anything. I think you could know a whole lot more than these couple weeks that y'all have been kicking it. But it's Hayden. His decision making skills are not that sound. So really doesn't matter a lot. And it's also Hayden. So I kind of look forward to her, taking him for all you got. So whatever. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to the laughs. Anyway. Karen and Zach are having lunch. And when I tell you this lunch was so cringy, what do you call it? Secondhand embarrassment. I was so secondhand embarrassed because Karen was landing on thick. She was landing on like molasses, like trying to give her best shot, do her best seduction, like just doing her absolute most. And that combined with Zach's just, I don't know, what do you call it? Absent-mindedness, naivete. He just was lost up until this moment. And this episode, the scene in this episode showed me that sometimes it takes people a little longer to get the message because he was really confuddled as to how she got to where she ended up in this scene. But let's just go through it. So they're sitting there having lunch and they're at a place that they've been before. And she's trying to get him to remember how happy they were the last time that they were there. So now they're scrolling down memory lane, and that's when she knew she would be with him forever. That was their second date that they went there, and they were recalling the date and some laughs that they had, getting caught in the rain, just the whole notebook situation type of thing going on. And like she told him in that moment, this is what she's telling him. Oh, well, this is when I knew that I was going to be with you forever. And I'm thinking, on the second date. You knew that on the second date? Okay, girl, if you say so. Anyway, and I think that is kind of where the light bulb came on because up until this point, so he was worried about her being dead a couple episodes ago, which legitimate worry, legitimate concern, offered to help her, rebuild her business. He's just been meeting with her and they've been cordial and she's been taking his kindness for affection. Is what I'm assuming. She's thinking because he cared about you not dying in a fire, that equates to the love being regained that y'all had already lost. And the two don't really work together. And I think Zach probably finally picked up on the hint that that's what she thinks they are, when in fact they are not. And so he reminded her, like, listen, yeah, it's funny how life puts us exactly where we need to be. We thought we'd do for everything, but we didn't. And he reminds her, like, listen, yeah, you're with Aaron. And she always reminds, she spends a lot of time in this episode reminding him, like, I'm not with him. I'm not in love with him, blah, 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 blah. Trying to push Aaron as far as out of her mind as possible. Even though I think that's that man's baby, but it's neither here nor there right now. And then he tells her, like, listen, you're with Aaron and I'm with Fatima. And so ain't no hope, is it basically. And she's like, are you sure about that? She gives him a whole lot of, you sure about that? Are you sure about that? Like, basically not willing to accept what this man is plainly telling to you. If you are a person that was raised by older Black people like myself, and you know something about these country people, that will tell you, or maybe older women in general, I won't just put that on country folk, don't let a person tell you more than once that they don't want to be with you. And he's clearly said it about 101 times at this point. So, and she's not getting the message. And he's like, listen, I can't be any more clear. I'm being clear and I'm being concise. And I will give you that, Zach. You have been clear in your words, but your actions have been unclear. For somebody like Karen, she lives on the edge of delusion. So, you're giving her care and concern and kissing her on the cheek and offering to help her. All of that she, again, assumed was affection or, love resurfacing or being in love with her again, which is not the case. And so she reminds him of how worried he was about her, and that just shows her that his heart was showing and he loves her again. And he was like, yeah, I love you, but, and I wouldn't want anything like that to happen to you, but I'm with Fatima. Like, I'm madly in love with Fatima, and me and her are going to get married, and it just is what it is. I don't, and she goes and asks him, like, hey, do you love us the same way? Like, do you love her as much as you love me, but the same way that you love me? He was like, no, I don't love her how I love you, because the loves are different. They're coming from different spaces, so they wouldn't be the same no matter how you cut it. Again, he's trying to be plain, trying to be clear, trying to let her know that. And now she's mad because she done sat there and made a fool of herself. But again, she's on the, it's a whole lot of personalities that kind of slipped out in this episode. And now she's pissed that she's made a fool of herself. And he tells her, like, listen, the help still stands. I still offer to help you rebuild your business. And she was like, oh, well, you're just going to abandon me and this baby? He was like, also, I need to remind you that I'm not sure that this baby is mine. So, and again, she doesn't even mention that. She glazes right over that. And she tells him, like, listen, I'm about to go home and the door's going to be unlocked. And you need to come over and take me down, essentially. So all that man just said to you, you say, okay, cool. I'm finna leave the door unlocked, and because you ain't got a key no more, and you need to come over and clap these cheeks, because that's what I'm willing to offer you at this point. So you need to take the offer, and I'll see you in about 15 minutes by the time I get to the house. It's giving desperation, and I hate that for her. I really do hate that for her, and I feel like it's gonna take something very harsh, like Fatima beating your ass, or Fatima sticking her cousin Madam on you. Like, it's got to be something very dramatic for you to understand, because I feel like Zach has screamed it from the rooftops, like, it ain't no hope, it ain't gonna happen, even if this baby's mine, it ain't no us. And I don't know how else him or anybody else can convey that to you. I don't know. I don't even have no answers, because that's a precarious situation to be in. And for me, I wouldn't say take your help back, but there's another way to help her, because now your money's going to be tied to her, and that's just even more convoluted when she's an ex. But what the hell do I know? Moving right along. Preston is there when Danny gets there. He's worried that the dude's going to come back and bother Danny, and Danny's not worried about it. But I think he also just likes being there. She's not trying to talk about them hunching the night before. She doesn't want anything to do with that, but he does. Yeah. I think in this scene, I think I missed something. Hold on. Yeah. So I did miss something. I'm gonna go back. They're just small talking, and then she just finally admits, like, hey, I actually would like to give this a try. Don't get too excited, but I would be interested in, taking another shot at this dating thing. With us, if you can be considerate, flexible, understanding all the things that I've asked, I would be willing to do it. But I also don't want to hear about little Miss Mindy girl no more. He's like, well, Mindy who? just that quick. Mindy is off to the side, and that's cool and all, but you threw that girl away a little bit too easily, and I just feel like you could potentially do the same to me. I don't know. This is me. Anyway, so yeah, now they're gonna give this thing a second shot, and he's gonna take her out to dinner. But first, of course, she has to whisk off to be with the girls because Andy calls in a 911 for everybody to meet at Karen's house. Now, I don't know. Comment below if you know the answer. I don't know. I know that this is my presumption. She knows that Zach and Karen had a meetup, and I don't know if she knows what Karen told Zach, because it seems like she knows the information, but there was nothing in the episode that showed me that she knew the information. But she did call a 911 for the girls to go to Karen's house, and so I don't know how that transition happened. Maybe I fell asleep or something. I don't know. But anyway, all the girls are headed to Karen's house to intervene yet again. In the meantime, Maurice rolls up on Q at work. I think at work again. He just keeps showing up to this man's job, and it appears like Mr. Q is a little bit shook. He a little bit scared, for real. He said he wasn't. He verbally said it, but you can kind of see in his countenance where he's a little worried. He was scared. He probably scared Maurice was going to shoot his ass again. And so Maurice is, just talking trash to Q, and he realizes, like, listen, you done found yourself another fool. It was some girl in the parking lot, coming to pick him up for work, and Maurice is just screaming at the girl through the window, talking to her about Q, and she's like, girl, run for the hills. This man's gonna take you for everything you got. He gonna use you. He gonna abuse you. He gonna do all this. I'm just trying to warn you, Molly, that you in danger. And the girl was just not even interested in hearing whatever Maurice had to say. And Maurice is pretty much on the edge of a breakdown, in my opinion, which is understandable. Like, literally, he has absolutely nothing to lose when it comes to Q because everything has already been lost. So he's just going to make things as uncomfortable as possible for Q at this point, which I second the motion. I agree. Just, hell, I ain't got nothing else to lose other than my freedom and shit. I'm about to lose that. So you going to have to suffer on the way out. Anyway. Fatima is home waiting on Zach, and she tells him exactly what she's feeling about how she felt disrespected and how she felt about him running off to check on Karen, and she was humiliated, and she feels as if he's still in love with her. And he tries to tell her, like, listen, I'm not in love with Karen. I was just caught up in the emotions of potentially losing her in that fire. And then he goes on to brief her on every single thing that happened at the dinner, lunch, or whatever happened at the cafe with Karen earlier. And, she's kind of listening, kind of not. And he goes on to remind her, like, listen, Ian is your ex. When you found out that he had cancer, which, again, I don't know if that happened on this series or on the Zatima series where the news was given to her, but her ex that she had been for a long time has terminal cancer or some sort of cancer to that effect. And he reminds her, like, listen, when you got the news, you was in the tub crying, you had a similar emotional reaction because we are emotionally tied to these people. Doesn't necessarily mean we're still in love. We're human beings that have human reactions, to bad news, to people that we once knew, loved, anything to that effect. So just give me a little bit of grace. I just give me grace on this one. And she that broke the wall. Like, that got through to her, and that made her understand his perspective, which I felt like y'all could have got to that a lot sooner had y'all not been ducking and dodging and hiding and beefing and all that other stuff. But whatever, we eventually got to the same understanding. Karen is sitting on the couch waiting on Zach to roll up, girl. She done got on her little night teddy. She's comfortable. The door is unlocked. Which, girl, you done had a whole lot happen in your apartment, so I'm not sure why you would have it unlocked, but she got the door unlocked. Andy rolls up, and she, under the guise she just stopping by to check on her friend, quote unquote. And Karen tries to put her out because she just blatantly tells her, like, listen, you gotta go. You gotta go. Zach's on the way. I done told him he about to come bust these cheeks down, and you gotta go. You gotta lay low. You gotta get out of here. And then all the other girls roll in simultaneously, and she's telling them, like, listen, y'all need to go. I didn't even invite y'all. Y'all need to leave. Zach is on the way. This is how I feel about it. It ain't nothing to talk about. And if we want to talk about me, we can talk about y'all and y'all men. If y'all want to talk about y'all and y'all men, don't talk about me and mine, and leave me alone. Zach is on the way, and we about to get it cracking. Zach is on the way. Then Fatima rolls up. Fatima walks in and out, and she's like, oh, is he? Is he really? Is he really on the way? You tell me, which leads you to believe that Zach told. Well, Zach did tell Fatima exactly what Karen said, and now she's over there to speak her mind yet again. And for me, I'm not gonna keep telling you. If I was Fatima, I'm not gonna keep telling you. I'm not gonna keep telling you. Zach is a little his elevator take a little long to get to the top sometimes. So you're gonna have to advocate for him. You're gonna have to speak up for him because obviously he don't be getting the hints. But I'm not gonna keep telling you. But hopefully that's the gist of the message that she gives out next week. But we'll see. Hopefully it don't come to blows because Karen is pregnant and she is also small and she gonna get dragged in a situation like this. But, we do see in glimpses of the next week's episode, Fatima's at her wit's end, and she's telling her, listen, like, you don't want to play with me, which, Fatima got the resources to call in some real heavy backup. So you might want to chill, little mama, but we gonna see. Gary gets to Andy's house and we not having sex tonight, hill that he's willing to die on today. He is, still holding off on that. So we'll see. He must be putting his foot down or something. I don't like that for him. Anyway, what y'all think about the episode? Let me know what you think. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and we'll see what happens in the next one. Yeah, that's it. The episode has been pretty much uneventful. I mean, eventful, but not many takeaways. We're just gonna keep going as the episodes develop. I would like to see how Fatima resolves, this newest issue with Karen that we got going on, but we'll see what happens. As I said, let me just think about the episode in the comments, like, comment, share, subscribe, or whatever it is that you feel like doing, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.